be the one to save us all when evil laughs through the night. We are the ones who will defend the light, we'll make everything alright. Don't be afraid, don't cower in fear, even when all hope is gone. We hear your voices crying out in fear, empower us with this song. Here we are, we're here to fight, all these villains cower in fear. Here we are, we'll fight for you. Don't worry because hope is here. Hashire kosoku no teikoku kageki dan unare shokeki no teikoku kageki dan. Yeah, you can say I'm hooked. As you guys might have seen, I made a video earlier talking about the original Sakura Wars for the Sega Saturn. The game was one of the most charming games I've played in a while. It feels like a Saturday morning cartoon, and I enjoyed it the entire way through. And with the new game out right now, let's see if I got my money's worth. Sakura Wars is a soft reboot of the Sakura Wars franchise, and man is this a welcome to both new fans and old fans alike. As someone who played only the first game and is about halfway through the original 2000 anime, I enjoyed my journey through the new game, so let me just gather my thoughts and talk about this new game. The original Assault Floral Troop is long retired, and now it's not too secret about the newest Imperial Assault Floral Troop's action or their identities. While the girls still act and fight, you find out that they really aren't up to par when our main hero first walks in, seeing that most people come to the theater for a quick laugh. And we have troops from other countries using the Imperial Combat Troop as a punchline. Great. But it's up to us to bring it to our former glory. Now let's meet the people part of the new Imperial Combat review. We got Clarissa Snowflake, or Clarice as the rest of the crew calls her, who's a quiet, gentle bookworm who loves writing scripts. Hatsuho Shinonome, a shrine maiden who's our resident tough girl and Baiken from Guilty Gear's little sister. Anastasia Palma, yeah. Azami Mochizuka, wait, is that a ninja? And Sakura Amamiya, my personal favorite, who's our childhood friend and tends to not know how to text correctly. I tend to go for the main heroine in these games. I'm so basic. But along with that, we have some fun support characters in the theater. We have Komaji, our resident shopkeep, who secures some funding for the future of the review. Kaoru, our secretary, who does most of the paperwork. Reiji, our old rival from Naval Academy, who, fun fact, is voiced by Tomokazu Tsujita, the voice of Joseph Joestar.
Mina, omedetou! Kettou o bujoku suru na, Jojo! Ore no mae de kettou o bujoku suru na, Jojo!
And leading our group is Sumire Kanzaki, a member of the original Imperial Floral Assault Troop. It makes me wonder where everyone else is. But the new cast is a breath of fresh air, and while I did enjoy the original cast from the original Sakura Wars, this is meant to introduce newcomers to the series, and while it took some adjusting, I ended up enjoying each and every one of these new characters, and it was nice to see Sumire again, but each one of the new girls I wanted to get to know. I was genuinely interested in learning more about them, hanging out with them, and just trying to make friends with them. But who is it that we play as? Well, that's this dude with the awesome hair, Seijiro Kamiyama. He's been deployed from the Navy to lead the newly reformed Imperial Combat Review Floral Division. He's a competent leader, but this character has a lot more of the silly answers. As opposed to Ogami, who may have, very little silly answers in comparison, but just not as much as Kamiyama. We do choose a good chunk of what he says, which the live and interactive picture system, or LIPS, returns as a core element to the visual novel aspect, where you have limited amount of time to respond, where you're presented with choices on what to say, and you can choose to say nothing. And this time with a new addition to the visual answering, a new mechanic known as the analog lip system, where you can control the intensity of something that Kamiyama says. You can make him say something with no hype at all, or hyped to the max. I don't know what to really say about Kamiyama, except they really tried to make him cool, and it kind of succeeded. He's your main character, and he's a badass, since he can just casually disarm 4 motherfuckers holding guns with his kung fu skills. So true to the series, the game is duo genre, a dating sim and an RPG. And the old strategy RPG gameplay from the original games that it was known for has now been replaced with an action RPG type of gameplay. It feels like a very watered down version of the Dynasty Warriors series, where you can just hack and slash your way through enemies. It's really easy. Like, way
too easy.
Like, there's no real challenge, and it gets really monotonous and really boring pretty quickly. I understand that this was trying to get more newer players into it, and that strategy gameplay isn't the biggest draw, but like, this is still way
too easy.
Also, along with that, the new gameplay takes away one of the major ways to increase your relationship level with the main characters, but I'll get back to that in a bit. I mean, the good news is that the supers are still really exciting. You even have like the combo attacks return, but instead of it doing like a giant like AoE type of deal, like when you do a duo Musou attack in Dynasty Warriors, it's kind of a buff that doesn't really last too long. It just, like, overall, this battle system just, it's got me wanting more. Like, it feels extremely bare bones, and it's unfortunate that I don't like it, and I guess that's the only way to improve it for me is to, I guess, make it more hype. Because, like, with Dynasty Warriors, the ridiculousness of some of the moves excite me. Or, I mean, you can possibly bring back the original battle system, but I can get used to this action RPG gameplay. I don't mind adjusting, but it's just, I guess, make it more fun, more appealing, a bit more difficult, I guess, give you more of a challenge. To me, it just feels repetitive and
too easy.
Going over to the other major portion of the gameplay, which is the dating sim aspect, you can raise the relationships with the girls by answering with certain choices, the correct dialogue choices, just like in the past games. In the past games, you were able to raise your relationship by covering the girl of your choice from damage. In this game, however, there is no cover mechanic since, the shift in gameplay styles of the battles. You raise your relationship status with the girls by just playing through the battles, whether it be through the story or replaying the battles. And that can be raised by raising the morale and getting a better final rank at the end of each battle. But the thing is that it requires you to play some of the battles, which, as you heard before, I'm not the biggest fan of. But it's a good way to make sure that everyone can trust you on the team. There's also another way to raise your relationship stats with the girls, which is through these one-on-one hangouts with them. They can range from reminiscing with Sakura about your childhood, helping Clarissa write a script, or perking up Hatsuho when she's feeling down. Along with that, you can also improve minor relationship status with some of the other supporting cast members in the game, and they even appear in the team status menu. In previous games, being nice to each heroine raised their stats going into battle. Here, it looks like everyone's stats stay the same, but you're able to see that the team is backed up more than just people on the front line, which is kind of nice. Just look at the sides and you'll see the characters on the side who have your back. Along with that, it's kind of nice seeing the different captain levels and the different poses that Kameyama gets, showing that he also gets experience leading these groups too. So you not only have to watch what you say around the main cast, but your supporting cast as well. Another thing that you're able to do as opposed to the original Sakura Wars is that you can explore outside the theater. You can talk to multiple people, and a lot of them supporting cast, and do some favors for some of these people. Here you'll have some chances to raise your trust level with the main girls. Some of these side quests do feel bare bones, but they're a nice break from the story. I just wish there was a bit more to do. Actually, wait, no, that's a lie. The game comes packed with Koi Koi Wars, which is Hanafuda, that you can play with all of the cast of Sakura Wars, including the villains of the game, which is pretty friggin' hilarious if you ask me. As you can see, I completely no-life the hell out of this and managed to complete and beat all of the characters. I still don't know how to properly plan and strategize in Hanafuda, but it's still fun nonetheless. One thing I want to talk about real quick is the visuals. The visuals are a lot different than those familiar with the original series, and that's because they got a new main character designer for this game. The main character designer of this game is Taita Kubo, and he's known for being the creator of Bleach. It took a bit of adjusting to me, but it helped create a unique art style for the game, and I ended up liking the overall character designs for most of the characters. Even the guest artists did well when it came to designing the supporting cast. But that's probably because I'm a bit biased, since some of them were credited with some of my favorite works. Artists who worked on K-On!, Persona, and even the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya were credited. The game is presented in 3D overall, but certain cutscenes are fully animated. I get it, this is to test the waters, and if it does sell really well, it'll get more of a budget to voice act more scenes and maybe even get a dub. I mean, for example, let's look at Persona 5 Royal. There are scenes that are fully voice acted that weren't in the original. So, with patience, Jeb. With patience. But speaking of audio, the music in the game is really good. While I do miss the original Sakura Wars theme, the new version of the song is very nice and gives me the same feeling the original does. Along with that, the other music in the game is really fun to listen to. It matches the mood of what's going on, and what I like is that there's certain cues taken from the original game's soundtrack, which is a nice little Easter eggs for fans of the old series. My favorite tracks are the London Review theme and Otome Nan Desu Yo, which is sung by Akane Sakura, Sakura Amamiya's voice actor. Give the soundtrack a listen if you've been enjoying the background music for this video. The soundtrack ranges from really soothing songs to a lot of songs that can just pump you right up. Just give it a try, just search it on YouTube and give it a listen. I don't want to go into full detail on the story, but the major thing that I want to state is that the game has multiple endings, going with the visual novel dating sim aspect, that at the end of the game you end up with the girl of your choice, which is decided around Chapter 7. And unlike in the original game, you can choose which girl as long as your trust level with them is high enough. I like having the choice since the game isn't really too clear about who's the top relationship level on the team. So I don't want to accidentally go with the girl that I just happen to say the correct answers to and not go for the girl of my choice, I guess another major thing I have a problem with is the length of the game. The game is also really, really short. I managed to beat the game 2 days after it came out during this time of quarantine. And I get it. It's to encourage multiple playthroughs and to see some of the different choices. Definitely made me feel curious with how ridiculous some of these responses can be. I generally try to answer the same way I'd answer in a real life situation, but I will let you know that my curiosity did get piqued when I saw some of these silly answers. Sometimes I indulged myself, most of the time I did. One of the biggest things that I can take away from this game, and one of the biggest things that I know that they definitely really did try to make this both a new Sakura Wars game, but something that can cater to the older fans, is the charm. The genuine charm that still carries from the old games. And I don't mean that it's just like the old games. I mean that it still carries that Saturday morning cartoon vibe that the original had. The characters still pose both before and after battle, and I found myself screenshotting a good chunk of these victory poses. They still even keep the "next time on Sakura Wars" episode preview after each chapter. The charm that they put in just keeping this vibe, the interactive Saturday morning cartoon vibe, I love it. And it's this that helps me overlook the flaws that I've previously mentioned. The best part is that there's an anime that takes place after the game's story, so I can just watch an anime with these characters. All these lovely characters that were great to hang out with, each that had their own quirky vibes that I just enjoyed. Overall, I loved playing through Sakura Wars. And would I recommend this for both newcomers and older fans? Yeah, I'd say so. The game still captures the Saturday morning cartoon vibe that the original had. It has hijinks, romance, battle, and drama. The overall charm that the game holds, it's cheesy and might even be cringeworthy to some, but it's the charm that's what keeps me coming back and enjoying this game. It's the charm that the developers managed to recapture, and I want to see more of this series. So while wrapping this up, I paid for the Digital Deluxe Edition, which was about $80. I definitely got to say, I feel like I got $60 worth of the gameplay so far. I have yet to play through and get the multiple endings for all the girls, and I haven't been able to play around with the DLC, so you know what? I think I did get my money's worth. I managed to get all $80 back at the time of this recording, because I'm just going to play it more, have a little laugh with the DLC costumes. I managed to get all $80 back in pure pleasure and gameplay. With that said, though, guys, I'm Well Dressed Gem, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you for listening to me talk about and gush about Sakura Wars. Pick up the game, whether it be physically or digitally. If you love anime, dating sims, watered down Dynasty Warriors, give it a try. My name is Well Dressed Gem, and I'll see you guys next time.